A mysterious U.S. ship potentially packed with special operators is prowling the Caribbean as the U.S. ramps up its efforts against what leaders have labeled narco-terror groups. The vessel doesn't have a Navy hull number, it doesn't appear in any official deployment announcements, hell, it doesn't even really have much in the way of weapons, at least that we can see, but it brings to bear the tip of the United States spear. Through the great work of Jeff Schogel and Patty Nyberg, Task and Purpose was actually able to confirm that the MV Ocean Trader, a U.S. government leased vessel described by analysts as a special operations mothership, is currently operating in the Caribbean. That confirmation comes directly from a spokesperson for Military Sealift Command. When asked what the ship was doing there, they deferred to U.S. Special Operations Command, and SOCOM gave us very detailed operational plans. Just kidding, they declined to comment. Welcome back to Task and Purpose. I'm Kyle, thank you for joining me here today, where we will try to answer some questions like, what is the MV Ocean Trader? What it can do, what it could be doing in the region, and what kind of operational history do these types of vessels have, so that maybe we can get a better idea of what we might see happen. Let's get going. But first, let's talk about Odoo, because running a business is hard enough. You shouldn't need 5 different platforms just to keep things moving. Odoo brings it all into one place: your website, your inventory, your sales tools, all fully integrated and connected. Need a website? Pick a theme, drag and drop what you need, and you're up and running like that. Odoo's built-in AI even helps write your product descriptions and summaries so you don't waste your time sitting there staring at a blank screen. Behind the scenes, inventory is just as simple. You can see what's in stock, what's shipping, and what's delayed, all from one dashboard. Automate vendor reminders, pay receipts, and set delivery schedules with just a few clicks. It even syncs automatically with your e-commerce and sales apps. With Odoo, everything works together so you can spend less time managing tools and more time growing your business. Start today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. Your first app is free, and we would like to thank Odoo for sponsoring this episode. The Ocean Trader began its life as a commercial roll-on, roll-off ship called the MV Craigside, originally built in 2011 for the Maersk Line. In 2013, Maersk was awarded a $73 million contract from the U.S. Navy's Military Sealift Command to convert the vessel. The Pentagon currently leases it, so the ship is crewed by civilians, and I say civilians with some hesitation, because these likely aren't your typical merchant vessel crewmen. But that's the story. The conversion process was carried out by BAE Systems and other contractors across multiple phases and locations. Key retrofitting work occurred at facilities in Mobile, Alabama, as well as the Middle East, particularly in Oman, and included the installation of a helicopter hangar, communication masts, SATCOM systems, and reinforced deck and launch areas for small boats. The transformation took approximately a year and a half, with the ship believed to be operational in its new role by mid to late 2015. The project has been closely tracked for years by open source researchers and defense outlets such as the War Zone, which use satellite imagery, maritime databases, and port call records to document the ship's evolution from a commercial transport vessel into a discrete mobile base for special operations forces. I cannot stress enough how on top of this TWZ has been from the very beginning. I mean, they were even the first ones to publish images of the story, but full disclosure, in my previous role here, I worked real close with the team at TWZ for about 4 years, doing all sorts of stuff for them. And today, I still do things with them. Like I get their newsletter, I do some community stuff for them. But anyways, take it from me, they are the best at what they do. They've been doing this for a long time. If you don't believe me, go to twz.com and check it out for yourself. You'll see what I mean. Unlike a destroyer or an amphibious ship, the Ocean Trader was designed to disappear in plain sight. According to retired Navy Captain Bradley Martin, who's a former surface warfare officer and a current RAND Corporation analyst, the whole point is to blend in with maritime traffic. He told Task and Purpose that ships like this can operate in contested regions with far less visibility than a warship. And if the ship's limited sightings over the years are any indication, this camouflage works really well. As you may have guessed by now, not a whole lot is known about the vessel. Its capabilities are pretty closely guarded, as one expects, but the original request for proposal gives us some insight. As an expeditionary support platform, the contract to convert the vessel called for the ship to be able to sustain 20 knots with a range of 8,000 miles. For perspective, San Diego to Tokyo is about 5,500 miles. It was originally required to remain at sea for 45 days without replenishing, which meant it had to carry enough for 159 special operators and the 50 civilian crew, which gives it a pretty impressive level of operational independence and allows it to stay hidden for long stretches. The RFP also called for the ability to launch and sustain helicopters up to the MH-53 in size. This means that it also comes with the hangars and the maintenance facilities necessary. In addition, through 4 large hangars on the starboard side, and remember, that starboard is right because port is left, because port and left both have 4 letters. So through 4 hangars on the starboard side, the vessel can also launch smaller boats. And in 2018 imagery analyzed by the Warzone, those appear to be the Navy's Combat Craft Assault. These are a sleek, go-fast boat that's a favorite of special operators. In addition to those 4, it can also handle up to 8 jet skis or smaller Zodiac-style boats. To protect itself, it also came with FLIR monitoring and 6 pintle mounts for weapons, potentially the M2, maybe the Mark 19, or some super secret SOCOM stuff that we just don't know anything about. Whether the Ocean Trader can launch and recovered unmanned surface and underwater vessels, or even those SEAL delivery vehicles, is unknown, but I mean, that would make sense. The capability to launch other drones that go in the sky, though, is confirmed. Even back in 2018, a launcher was spotted on the deck, and as we've come quite a long way with this technology, the capability from the MV Ocean Trader has probably come a long way with it. All of this cool stuff and fancy equipment, and the ship still more closely resembles a boring cargo vessel than a high-tech SOCOM asset. Retired Navy Captain Brett Sadler, now at the Heritage Foundation, noted to us that the ship had previously been under military contract before its conversion, and that its design is well suited to operating in austere or underdeveloped environments. That includes parts of Latin America and the Caribbean, where roll-on, roll-off vessels are not uncommon. Naval analyst Michael Faby told Task and Purpose that the ship's color scheme and profile are pretty difficult to distinguish from commercial vessels, especially at a distance. That camouflage effect, not just visual but also procedural, is part of what makes it useful for discrete operations. Alright, I can hear the groans and see the eye rolls now with some of you asking how a ship like this can hide, but look at how often it's been spotted. There's only a handful of sightings over the years, and when we were trying to find pictures for the story that we had on site, it was a challenge. So obviously, between the ability to stay at sea and its pedestrian appearance, the Ocean Trader is very elusive. While no official mission has been disclosed, Task and Purpose confirmed through the Military Sealift Command that the Ocean Trader is currently operating in the Caribbean. Satellite imagery dated September 20th identified the ship off the southwest coast of St. Kitts, and later on a Reddit user appears to have photographed it near St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. While those images haven't been verified by the US military, they do align with known features of the Ocean Trader, including its distinctive hull form and deck configuration. Like we've already said, SOCOM declined to comment on the ship's purpose, and that's not unusual. Vessels supporting special operations are often designed to operate with minimal visibility, and the military rarely discloses operational details, especially for platforms meant to blend in, unless a reporter accidentally gets added to the signal chat. Still, the ship's arrival comes during a surge in US military presence across the region. We covered this more in depth in an earlier video, so check that out if you want more, but over the past month, the Navy has deployed the destroyers USS Jason Dunham, USS Gravely, and USS Stockdale, the cruiser USS Lake Erie, the littoral combat ship USS Minneapolis St. Paul, and the Iwo Jima Amphibious Readiness Group. That group alone includes the amphibious assault ship USS Iwo Jima and the transport docks USS San Antonio and USS Fort Lauderdale, with roughly 2,200 Marines from the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit. Marine Corps F-35Bs and Air Force MQ-9 Reapers have also been deployed to Puerto Rico, while Air Force Special Operations Command recently ran Air Force seizure drills, simulating rapid deployments in dispersed environments. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump stated that at the time that we're recording this, U.S. forces destroyed 3 boats suspected of smuggling drugs in the Caribbean since U.S. forces have arrived, resulting in 17 fatalities. Those interdictions have not been directly linked to the Ocean Trader, and no evidence has surfaced to suggest the ship's involvement. That said, the Ocean Trader is well suited to support operations like this. Defense analysts told Task and Purpose that its ability to deploy small boats, support helicopters, and sustain extended offshore operations makes it a flexible tool for low visibility missions, everything from counter-narcotics to crisis response or special operations insertions. Of course, it's also entirely possible that the ship is just conducting tests, pre-positioning, or training with no personnel embarked. Its presence alone doesn't confirm activity, but its timing and location amid a growing regional buildup warrants attention. There's a long history of using modified civilian ships for quiet military operations. During World War II and the Cold War, and again during the Global War on Terror, the US outfitted commercial hulls for logistics, deception, and special operations. The Ocean Trader fits that lineage, just updated for the kind of conflicts the Pentagon expects to face now. In 2019, the ship was observed in Diego Garcia, a highly strategic US military outpost in the Indian Ocean. That appearance coincided with increased tensions in the region and seems to have positioned the Ocean Trader to support contingency operations tied to maritime security or intelligence collection across the broader CENTCOM and AFRICOM areas of operation. Its presence there suggested the ship's utility not just in special operations, but in acting as a forward base of logistics and surveillance in regions with limited US basing infrastructure. Going further back, port records and vessel tracking forums show the Ocean Trader calling at Rota, Spain and Ceuta Bay, Crete, which are 2 key hubs for US naval forces operating in the Mediterranean. While those stops may have been logistical in nature, they also align with periods of heightened US special operations activity in Libya and North Africa, particularly during the campaign against ISIS. What stands out most across these appearances is the pattern. Ocean Trader tends to surface briefly near regions where US forces are engaged in complex, low visibility operations. It doesn't follow a traditional deployment cycle, and its taskings are almost never confirmed. We were honestly pretty surprised that we were able to get any confirmation out of the Pentagon on this one, but its movements seem to map closely to shifting US strategic priorities. The Horn of Africa in the 2010s, the Indo-Pacific presence building in the 2020s, and now the Caribbean, potentially tied to counter-narcotics, gray zone deterrence, or pre-positioning for crisis response. And for every sighting that's been documented, there are likely deployments that went completely unnoticed and we will just never know about. What makes the Ocean Trader notable isn't just its capabilities, but the questions it raises. It exists in that operational gray space where plausible deniability meets real-world capability. It doesn't carry missiles, at least that we know of, and it doesn't fly a Navy flag, but it can deploy special operations forces quietly and without drawing much attention. Right now, it's operating in a region experiencing increased military presence, political tension, and active interdiction efforts. Whether it's involved directly is unknown, but its presence alone signals that the US is prepared to operate in a more discreet, distributed, and flexible way. I wrote the script and Savvy edited the video, and today I'm wearing the Grenade Patton shirt. It's just the Mark II Grenade Patton. Put on a shirt, I really liked it, so I made it. If you really like it, you don't have to make it, you can buy it, and you can use code ACTUALLYWATCHED at store.taskandpurpose.com to get 10% off. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot else. Let me know what you have in the comments though, what you're thinking, feeling, how do you feel about the MV Ocean Trader? What do you got on Venezuela? Really anything. I enjoy the comments. I get a lot out of them. I'm really busy. I don't get to spend as much time in them, but I still really enjoy it. I appreciate all the support. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff I'm supposed to tell you to do. Other than that, I got nothing else. I am Kyle, your friendly ginger producer man. You are all dismissed, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.